Hello? Hello, 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 hello. Test, test, test. Audio looks good. Video looks good. How's everyone doing? I think this is the first stream I've done in October, right? It's been pretty uneventful, especially if you're trading the macro charts. It's been pretty range bound for the past, I don't know, 4 weeks. Hasn't been shit. So let's talk about it. Let's go ahead and look at the weekly chart. Let me change this visibility real quick. There we go. And you. Okay. So first, let's go ahead and look at the cloud, as we always do, and take a look at what's going on here. Let me get rid of all this other stuff. Okay, cool. So we got the cloud, we got the 50 EMA and the 200 EMA. Clearly, the 200 EMA is not really relevant at the moment, but some interesting stuff is happening with the 50 EMA and the Ichimoku cloud stuff. So first of all, first thing we notice, big fat, whoa, what the fuck? Big fat, there we go. Red Kumo here, which is not the best at the moment if you're trading weekly charts. And also, if you look at both the Tenkan, the Kijun, and the 50 EMA, some interesting stuff is happening here. You can see it's resisting all three of them. Okay. So keep in mind this is still Bitfinex chart. I don't really think the difference between a Bitfinex chart and a Bitstamp chart or a Coinbase chart matters on a macro scale, so disregard that. But at the moment, we're finding resistance here again for the, I don't know, 10,000th week in a row, however many this is. Right? We have not been able to break above the Kijun, which is the, the slow moving average. This guy, this red guy. But it is very flat because we haven't been making new lows and we've been range bound. So we've got a couple of obstacles, but they're all bunched up. They've all converged into one little point. And if we can get a decisive break above this or close above, this little band of prices right here, which is, what is it, like 6,800, whatever that is. This little chunk of prices right here, that'll be good. That'll turn this frown upside down, and we'll make it a smiley, and it'll look really nice. Especially because these altcoin charts are looking incredibly bullish, and a lot of them have like a lot of these like shit coins have like just skyrocketed, but a lot of the larger ones look like they're ready to take off for a macro run, right? So not a whole lot to say for Bitcoin. It's kind of doing its little consolidation dance, and when we look at like the daily chart, for example, let's get rid of this cloud here. Get rid of the cloud. Here's the daily. We see it's kind of oscillating above and below this 50 EMA. And when we look at, the trend stuff, let me put it on the 12-hour. We see that, get rid of the 50 and the 200. Bitfinex is currently, playing just the tip with the with the macro downtrend. That's this red line right here. Boom. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tests. 6 tests of the macro downtrend, which in my opinion and many other opinions, it's not a unique opinion, but it's the general consensus is that if we can break and hold above this downtrend, that is a strong reversal signal for a setup to a bullish reversal. But right now we're finding difficulty doing it, not only on the Bitfinex chart, but if we look at something like Coinbase, right? And we draw a similar sort of dealio here. Maybe something like that. Then we see we're not quite above it. We wicked above it the other day, but we're not holding above it, and that's what we need to do. We need to hold above the downtrend, and that will make things look really, really ripe. And I'm of the opinion it's going to break up, personally. I think the confluence of altcoin charts, which we're going to dive into in a minute, combined with this gigantic descending triangle, descending wedge thing, whatever you want to call it. You can argue a wedge, you can argue a triangle, whatever the fuck you want to call it. I don't care. This is set up for what looks to be an altcoin market bottom. Or as Don Alt said, the world's largest bear trap. Or sorry, bull trap. So where does that leave us? Let's go back to Bitfinex. If we look at the long and short ratio, which is what I have here at the bottom, we see that the shorts are piling on and the longs are falling off a fucking cliff here, right? So red are the shorts here. Green, these little guys, are the longs. And right now, a huge disparity. There's 50% more shorts, over 50% more shorts than longs here. And the longs are just going down, and the shorts are rising or remaining constant. So what does that mean? Well, if you're hunting for liquidity, that means that the squeeze exists not in the bull's favor. So what I mean is, if you have 50% more shorts than longs, that's gonna be much easier to have a market squeeze, something like this. Something like, dude, I can't stabilize my hand right now. Jesus. Sorry, guys. Something like this, or this, or this, or this. It's much more likely to happen going upward because, right, when you squeeze shorts, the market buy or the stop out or whatever you want to, whatever sort of combination of the two, it pushes the price up. Well, there's not a whole lot of longs here, so this is like the quote-unquote crowded trade that some people like to talk about, where everyone's shorting, but the price is not moving. And pretty soon, the market's going to run out of shorters. And what happens when the market runs out of shorters? Right? Well, they're going to get squeezed. And that means if they push them up, and when we've got our downtrend, I need to change the visibility on this thing. When we've got our downtrend, right, it's going to pop it right through. And given the situation that a lot of these altcoin charts are positioned, if you're, maybe I'll eat my words on this, but I would not want to be a bear right now, because the bears are clearly running out of pressure, and if ever there was going to be a squeeze, it's going to be a squeeze on the bears, not the bulls. I mean, this disparity is huge. This might be the biggest disparity between longs and shorts we've seen ever. Right? So here's 30. Where's this? So 35 to 25. Yeah, this is the biggest disparity in longs and shorts that we've seen in recent history, at least, as far back as you can go. So, goddamn, that is a not a comforting thing to be looking at if you're currently short. So, before we go and talk about the altcoin charts, do you guys have any questions about the Bitcoin stuff? Right now, I mean, there's not a whole lot to say. Like I said, it's range bound, but immediately above us, we've got the cloud stuffs on the weekly that if we can break above it, will be great. And given the shorts to longs, it looks like there's a really good chance that we can pop right above this. And if we pop and hold, well, then we're set up for a really, really nice sustained reversal, because the price target of this descending triangle sort of thing is pretty big. Price target is, the measured move would be from here to here. It's like almost 6K. So 6K from here would be 12K, right? Be somewhere up here. Very strong sustained move, in my opinion, is what's most likely going to happen. I'm not going to see a slow drift. We're going to see a pop, because these longs and shorts are tightly wound, and they're ready to explode. And if you combine the weekly Bollinger Bands, for example, look how tight these cute little bands are. Look at these things. They're just squeezing and squeezing and squeezing, and the shorts keep piling up and they're piling up and they're piling up, and something's gonna blow. And I don't think it's gonna be the long positions. It's gonna be a liquidation of shorts. Okay, so let's get some questions going, and then we'll move on to the altcoin charts. So someone says, imagine shorting the bottom of the sixth time, or for the sixth time. Yeah. What's really funny is that Tone Vase was like so proud of his short last week. He was like, "Oh man, I'm proudly shorting the bottom. I'm here, and man, blah blah blah." If this reverses here again, that will make the second time that dude is shorted the macro bottom of a bull of a macro reversal, because he shorted here. He shorted here too. I think he shorted like either here or here, one of these two giant capitulation things. He shorted that, right? And then it just took off for a multi-year bull run. And now he's saying he shorted here, and man, what a goofball. The Bitcoin, the B bands make it look kind of doggy. I guess it kind of looks like a dog. They keep that narrative going that 6K-ish supports weakens every time it gets tested, at the same time ignoring us testing the downtrend channel for the fifth. Yeah, I know. I think that's funny as well. Any concern with the bounce getting lower and weaker? No, that's just a consolidation pattern that it's found itself in. It's not concerning, you know. Aren't we missing a capitulation before we go up again? No. I don't know why, but for whatever reason, crypto Twitter thinks that everything has to bottom with a capitulation, and that's just not the case. I mean, yeah, we saw a capitulation from here to here, right? But not all. Like, you don't have to have this like aggressive capitulation bottom all the time. In our case, we can have an accumulation trading range, right? You don't have to have this like violent reversal all the time. Sometimes it's more effective to have a grinding bottom. Because check this out. Okay, so this is interesting here. So I've had this, if you've been following my streams or my articles for that matter, I've had this red bar and this green bar on my chart for a long time, for many, many months. Well, it's really interesting that last weekend when Bitfinex wicked up this gigantic wick, it perfectly wicked the bottom of my red box that I've had on my chart for, again, many months. But what's most interesting about it is the reason why I have this box here is because this hypodermic trend line, that's where it begins. And I'm of the opinion that all of this was a gigantic shakeout to shake loose all the retail investors that invested from between 7.5 and 20K. Because, this was when it really went parabolic. Like, yeah, it was parabolic before, of course, but this is when it went aggressively parabolic. Here, we call this a hypodermic trend line because it, if you're looking at a typical parabolic curve, which you can see here, it's a little envelope thing. When it breaks north of a parabolic curve, that's called a hypodermic trend line, or a hypodermic trend. And that is like, if you ever look at like the meme bubble chart, when it's like irrational exuberance, that's this phase right here. And then, we have the parabolic blow off and then it shakes out. But what I found to be most interesting is this has been a really big point of interest for the market, right where this parabolic or the hypodermic trend line began. And that's exactly where we wicked up to. So I'm of the opinion that everything below this, everything below 7.8 to 8K, has all been accumulation by the composite operator. And that's why we see the alts looking the way they do, Do you think Bitcoin/alts will run if the stock market drops? I don't. I really don't. Just from a simple standpoint that crypto is the most volatile, and if you're a large, hedge fund or investment bank, whatever, the last thing you're going to do is invest in hyper volatile assets while your stable ones are going down. But I've been listening to some conferences, and people are playing around with the idea of hedging with Bitcoin. So I mean, maybe, but it just kind of seems like it's wishful thinking to think that if the entire stock market is going down, that Bitcoin will go up. But I mean, maybe I'll be wrong, but I just don't see that happening from like just a logical standpoint. If you're even from a retail standpoint, if your stocks are taking a big fat shit and your 401k is going into the dumpster, you're not going to sit there and throw money into something that's just volatile as shit. So, but maybe we'll see an end of the year run for Bitcoin, and we'll see a transition from stock market capital to crypto capital. Maybe that will happen. I don't know. It's too soon to tell. But just to add an immediate opinion, I don't think so. No. Okay. Any more questions about Bitcoin before we go to altcoins? Also, guys, I haven't been doing as many streams lately because it's been pretty non-eventful for the major market coins. But I'm always active in my trading community. So if you're interested in joining that, go to bitcoinschmitcoin.com and use the coupon code BULL50 until the end of the month, and get a discount on your membership. Right? I try to stay pretty active on Twitter, but like 90% of the stuff that I'm covering is I'm not going to post it on Twitter or in the stream because there's just too much to talk about. But anyway, let's go ahead and look at some alts I'm eyeballing. So I'm actually gonna go. Let's talk about XRP first. So Ripple, right? Ripple had that gigantic run here, where it broke out of its supply and demand channel, and it's kind of found itself in this really nice accumulation trading range. So, if you follow me on Twitter, you know that I added, or I started building a position down here because I thought it was going to be a spring, and it kind of looks to be one. But right now, it looks like a really clean spring, a high volume spring, a low volume retest, which is what we want to see, and then a high volume rejection of the lows. So now what we're waiting for, if you're a Wyckofian trader, you know what comes next, and that would be the jump across the creek. So, we see the creek, boo, 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 boo. And then what would be next would be a very high volume candle with high spread, something similar to this or this, something like that, where you see high volume, wide spread, and it'll most likely jump up to this level here. But it's not just going to meander upward. It's going to pop above, and that would be our jump across the creek, which is what we'd be looking for. But yeah, it got long here, and I've been riding it out. I think Ripple's going to have it's going to perform really well. Another one is Bitcoin Cash. If we look at the daily chart, Bitcoin Cash looks like it's making a giant accumulation trading range sort of dealio. It really took a big hit when Bitcoin pulled back the other day, but I think it's near a local bottom. And if you look at like the hourly chart, or even like it looks like it's making a little inverted head and shoulders thing on the lower time frames, right? And it might even come up here and make another inverted head and shoulders. Markets like to do that. They like to do like this nested inverted head and shoulders thing. So it'll be like, here's the first inverted head and shoulders, and it'll come up here, and it'll go a larger inverted head and shoulders, and then we'll see the markup. So yeah, I think Bitcoin Cash is going to be a good one, especially once it gets back in its macro trading range. It's going to have really aggressive markup, I believe, because it's been accumulating for a while. I think, of course, Litecoin. I've been talking about Litecoin for a long time. Here's the daily chart on Litecoin. The giant accumulation trading range. And inside the giant accumulation trading range is a smaller accumulation trading range at the bottom. And this looks ready for a jump across the creek. So here's the creek again. Here's the creek. Bloop, 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 bloop. And we should see, so here's the spring. Low volume. Where's the volume? Non-existent. They properly shaken out all the weak hands, and now it's kind of doing this like inverted head and shoulders thing again. But next move would be jump across the creek. So it's gonna go boop. Dudes, it's high volume, large candle spread jump would be the next move for this thing. And this little accumulation trading range is actually the spring of a larger accumulation trading range, which you can even look at it on the weekly here. Let's get rid of you. If you look at it on the weekly, it makes a little bit more sense. So we see this this creaky thing where the next move would be, it flies right over that thing. So Litecoin's looking super cute right now. What's another one? Tron. Tron looks really, really nice. It's got a really clean accumulation trading range here. Here. I'll go ahead and label this out for you guys. So here's the top of the trading range. Here's the bottom. Okay, so we see a selling climax. Oops. We see an automatic reaction. See a secondary test. See a little bit of a spring thing here. We see a sign of strength. We see a major sign of strength here because it pops out at the top of the trading range. And now we see these last point of support tests here. So this would be LPS, and now it's just waiting for permission to break out of the trading range. So Tron looks really good here. And this is the Bitcoin chart. It looks a little bit more clear on the daily chart if you look at it from that perspective. Seems a little bit more obvious here. But yeah, Tron looks good. EOS looks very similar to Tron. It's basically the same sort of trading range here. It has been seeing a lot of supply showing up, so I'm a little less excited about EOS at the moment. I'm not a big fan of these giant drops in volume here, so I'm not currently playing EOS. But here are the ones that I'm most excited about. Okay. Well, clearly, I'm the most excited about Coin. It's got just a clean accumulation trading range, like perfect accumulation trading range. If you look up a textbook example of an accumulation trading range, it looks just like this. Really, really nice. And it looks like it's ready for markup. It's done its second LPS. It's after its major sign of strength. It had a nice little round of shakeouts right here, and now it's marking up. It's back above. It closed yesterday. It closed a daily candle above the automatic reaction high, and that's what we're looking for. Just for a close here. If it dips back below, we'll have to reassess. But I don't see that happening. I think it's ready for markup. Same sort of thing with Komodo. It just had its. So if you want to compare the charts of Komodo to Coin, Komodo is here in the journey. So it still has to do its major sign of strength where it breaks out, and then maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's properly accumulated enough, and it can just mark up from here. But a lot of times you see a major sign of strength that comes back down, retests the support, and then it goes and it takes off. But yeah, I've been scooping up Komodo on the drops, and really excited about that one. Also very excited about Neo. I think Neo looks pretty good. If we just look at it from a trading range standpoint, it looks like a really nice accumulation. So here's the spring, right? Nice shakeout down into the spring. There's a low volume reaction to the shakeout. So that means accumulation has properly been absorbed, and now it's ready for it to jump across the creek. So I would not be at all surprised to see, in the coming days, Neo pop up to the 0.0031 values and test the top of the trading range. And then, of course, everyone's all over Stellar lumens. If you look at the macro chart of lumens, it's got this really nice descending triangle that it broke north out of. And if you're familiar with classical charting patterns, that when in an uptrend, if you get a descending triangle, it actually forms as a continuation pattern, and that's what we're seeing here. So you see this basically year-long consolidation pattern where it's going to have just a massive price markup once it actually decides to do that. And at the moment, it's sitting outside the triangle. So lumens look really great. What else? There's just like a mixed bag of shit coins that are just that look. I know a lot of people are trading BAT. Oh, the hell? How'd you get up there? Get down. Yeah, I know a lot of people are trading BAT. I'm not personally a big fan of this chart. I know it's seeing some gains, but you know, maybe it's making a larger trading range here. You know, you got an argument for some horizontals here, maybe here, but I personally don't like to trade these charts. I like to trade the charts with like really cleaner, where I have a very clear roadmap of where I am in this market cycle. With BAT, you know, I'm not knocking you if you trade it. That's fine. You know, clearly it's performing well. It's just not personally like the setups I like to see. If it comes up to the top of this trading range and it comes down, maybe I'll consider buying some on the pullback. But right now, it's not something that's in my wheelhouse for my trade setups. But that's just my personal opinion. What about XRP? I literally just talked about XRP. That was one of the first coins I talked about. So let's talk about NEM. The fuck is NEM? What is this? This is not a bad chart. So this is actually a pretty good chart. So this is making a giant head and shoulders bottom sort of thing, right? Left shoulder, head, right shoulder, and it's seeing a nice markup here. So this might be a good buy. I might scoop some of this up. This looks pretty good. And it's at the bottom of this like gigantic downtrend, and it's like near historic lows. So, yeah, it might not be a bad move. This actually looks a lot like Siacoin. The chart history looks a lot like Siacoin. That's interesting. What the fuck happened here? Maybe this is like a coin listing or something. But yeah, it has a really clear market cycle that I can get behind, and with a nice accumulation pattern here. So yeah, this looks like a pretty good coin. Oh, nice, and it's in the daily cloud. I would personally, for me to trade this, I would like to see this outside the cloud. I would like to see the Tenkan and the Kijun trending outside the cloud, and the Chiku at the very least inside the cloud. I would prefer for it to be outside the cloud, but if it can get inside the cloud, that'd be a lot better. And of course, I want to see this close above the 50 EMA for a really nice buy signal for me personally. Don't want to jump the gun yet, because this might just be people FOMOing here, not a legit trend reversal. But it looks like it's heading toward a trend reversal. How about ZRX? Oh yeah, that was the one that just got added to Coinbase, right? This isn't the cleanest chart in the world. I mean, it's clearly marking up. You can see just rounds and rounds of buying. That's good. It is through the cloud. Cool. It's finding support on the Tenkan. That's really good. And if we can get this Chiku span through the cloud, that would be a great buy signal for me. I'm not a big fan of playing the cloud during consolidations. I like to see it like at the bottom or the top of a trend. But right now, it's getting a nice buy signal. Just for general reference, a really strong buy signal is when you get the price trending above the Tenkan and the Kijun, right? It's finding support. It's been tested. It's finding support. and you get the Chiku through the cloud, or you get all three of these things through the cloud, that's the sign of a strong uptrend, and vice versa. You just flip it for a downtrend. So if we can get this Chiku to close above the cloud, that'd be great. That'd be ideal. So someone's wanting to look at quantum. Yeah, I've actually been looking at this for a while. Oh, nice. Okay, so this is what I was waiting for. I was gonna buy some quantum when it was like down here, and I just didn't because I didn't like the way the cloud was set up. But this is what we want to see. Okay, we want to see for the first time the prices closed. The price closed above the 50 EMA. Check. It's finding support on the daily. Wait, where is the Tenkan? Oh, it must be following the Kijun. Okay. If we can get a close above the cloud, that'd be perfect. Again, same setup we're looking for. And we also see a bullish twist here, so that's great. The fact that it closed above the 50 EMA is a really great signal. For it to be a macro buy for me, I'd like to see this, again, the Chiku in the cloud, and at minimum, a retest of this Kijun here, this red line. I want to see a retest of that. But yeah, it looks good. I've been eyeballing this for a couple weeks now, especially when it dropped down. I was like, ooh, I might scoop some of that up. But I felt kind of overexposed to crypto, so I was like, maybe I'll just wait and see what happens. And then sure enough, they announced that partnership with whoever. I forget who it was, but they announced some sort of partnership. Everyone's got fucking partnerships in crypto. But Quantum announced a good one. I think it was with Amazon, right? AWS or whatever. But yeah, so that's good. And again, guys, if you want to hear my thoughts 24/7, go to join my trading community at bitcoinschmitcoin.com and use the coupon code BULL50 for 50% off until the end of the month. So 10 more days. Because I'm not streaming as much because not as much is going on. But yeah. Go to bitcoinschmitcoin.com. So someone's saying, what about the altcoin market cap chart? Looks like it has a nice Wyckoff chart also. Yeah, it looks like a giant inverted head and shoulders. I think I'll just pull up Donald's chart. He posted it. Yeah, it looks like this. Giant inverted head and shoulders, which lines up well with the argument that I was making with the way Bitcoin and the altcoin markets in general are lining up. But yeah, it looks like a giant inverted head and shoulders. So, and those are daily candles. But I totally agree. It looks like the altcoin market has bottomed. Okay. All right. Yeah, there's not a whole lot to talk about in terms of Bitcoin, but the altcoins are where the real action's taking place. Do you guys have any more questions about the Bitcoin stuff? Otherwise, I'm gonna go eat some pizza because it's being delivered to my home and should be here shortly, and I want to eat it because I'm hungry. Really excited about Ripple and Scicoin and Stellar. Stellar is going to perform really well. Looks like it anyway. It's set up to perform really well. And I'm really excited about Neo. If you look at the daily chart of Neo, Neo is basically where Quantum was a couple of weeks ago. You know, I'm not going too heavy in Neo at the moment, but you know, I'm dipping my toes there, especially on this spring setup here. And I like the fact that it's at the bottom of a downtrend. I like this. This is hot. That's what I like to see. If Bitcoin were to if Bitcoin were to drop, are you looking for a spring or a short? Those are two very different things. I personally would not short it. No, I would just be like, okay, well that sucks. I'll just wait for it to bottom. Below this, at the current levels, I'm not looking to short until we gain some altitude. The risk to reward for shorting here is just like, I don't see the point. If you haven't shorted yet and you're just now starting to short, yeah, maybe you'll get some profit, but goddamn, like, spend your time a little bit more wisely. Pizza with pineapple, I hope. Dude, I did. I went a little crazy. I got chicken, pineapple, and ham on there. So I'm just wild. What about Cardano? Yeah, I'll talk about Cardano real quick. So Cardano has been in this macro downtrend, and now it's kind of just slowly snaked its way sideways. And it's interesting, but I don't have anything notable to talk about from like a Wyckoffyan standpoint. It is making a head and shoulders bottom here, so that's interesting. So it might make for a good buy, but again, not really one of those charts that I'm like super duper excited about, because I mean, I can see an argument for this being a spring, a retest, and then a retest again. And this would be like a creek sort of thing, where next thing would be a jump across creek. I could see an argument for that, sure. But again, I like to play cleaner accumulations, and this isn't the cleanest. I don't like how many times it dipped below the trading range, but it did drip on the last one. It dipped below the trading range, and it made this nice inverted head and shoulders, and it did it on low volume, so that's good. And then of course you see this wick to retest the TR low, but I do own a little bit of Cardano, not a whole lot, but my heaviest bags are Coin. Let's see, what are my heaviest bags right now? Coin, Lumen, XRP, and Komodo are my top 4 bag holds right now. And I've just got like little bits of Bitcoin, Ether, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, Neo, stuff like that. But yeah. Again, go to bitcoinschmitcoin.com if you want more of this sort of information. We can chat it up there. Use coupon code BULL50 for 50% off. I hope you guys have a great rest of your Sunday. If you're in the UK, have a nice dinner or whatever you're doing. Eating a shepherd's pie or whatever it is that you English people like to eat. A croissant, perhaps. Anyway, that's all I got to say. If Bitcoin does something cool and exciting, then yay, I'll do another stream. But until then, I'm not really down with streaming during these points of consolidation because it's just fucking boring. But I did get excited when Bitcoin, this gigantic candle, I was like, finally, Bitcoin's doing something. And it was just like, you know, pulled back down. And I was like, it's boring times again. But anyway, go to bitcoinschmitcoin.com. I'm going to head out, eat some pizza. And you guys have a great rest of your weekend. And don't stare at the charts too long. Okay? Bye.